I wanted to create an opportunity where people could come and share their stories. And when we open up our hearts, we allow others to help carry our loads as we in return help carry theirs. And the more we share our stories, the braver and the stronger we become. Hi, you guys. Thank you for coming and spending your Saturday with me. I think all of you guys are beautiful, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Carla Sonye.
Hello, I'm LaShondra Davis.
I'm Ashley Porterfield.
Hi, I'm Falani Bahati.
Hi, I'm Rashida Tinkshell.
And today we're representing all shades. And so I want to talk about colorism. And the reason that I want to talk about it is because there's a few ways that it's surfaced in my life. So I want to know if it's still relevant, in your lives today, how it's affecting you, and then what you're doing to resolve it. So here are two instances for me. One day I was in the gym, exercise class, and this girl comes up to me and she says, "I think you're cute, but you need a little brightening." And I didn't understand what she was talking about. So she gave me the number to a doctor who lightens your skin. So I said, oh, okay. And as I analyzed her, she did a lot of things to change herself. So I don't think it's fair that people project their insecurities onto you. That was one instance. Another instance, I was at work and I was talking to some of my coworkers, and we were talking about light brown and dark skins. And I thought she was brown skin, but she was like, "No, I'm light skin, and you're just mad because you can't pass the brown paper bag test." I said, "Oh, what is that?" And I've never wanted to pass that. And the reason that I think I never wanted to pass that test is because of my upbringing, right? I grew up in a household where this is what I saw, all different shades. We were all told we were beautiful. We were all told that we could do anything in this world. There was no special treatment. So that's how I live in this world. And I know it exists, but I don't focus on it because I think instilled at a very young age was confidence. And when confidence can come from within, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you. They don't have to validate you because you already know who you are. So do you guys think it's prevalent still today? How is it affecting you? And we can start with you, Rashida.
Sure. I guess the most recent example would probably be in the workplace. I had a supervisor who had some issues, I think, that stemmed from childhood trauma as it related to her complexion. And I noticed that she started to transfer that maybe envy, and it manifested in different ways, not really assisting in ways that she could assist. And I knew this because I have family from New Orleans. So we had a conversation about that, and her family is from New Orleans. But they have this thing out there called passe blanc, like pass for white. So she was the product of a union where she could not pass for white. And so when we would talk about different things, I'm a darker hue, the sister had a darker hue, but beautiful, intelligent. So I really couldn't understand what her hang-up was, regarding that. But she would make comments consistently about that as if she didn't feel accepted clearly by her family, and that women that had a lighter complexion had more of an advantage economically, academically. And even though I knew that was prevalent, my thinking was, okay, as a woman of color who's in leadership, what are you doing now to remedy that? If you see that this is an issue, how are you using your leadership role to empower other women and, support them in whatever efforts? What can you actively do now to atone? Even, on a cultural I guess from a cultural perspective, not personally her, but just helping with that atonement process.
Right, that healing process.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
So Fulani, you're in the entertainment business.
Yes.
How has this affected your work? How has it surfaced in that realm? Because you get the lead roles. I've seen you.
Times have changed, and I feel like the shift happened 2016 when Beyonce had 50 black women dancing for her for Super Bowl, and I was a part of that. And then on that tour, she wanted all black females, and before then, it was like a fight for that one spot as a black woman. So it was like, and it created like envy amongst each other. And I, like you said, it stems from being confident. I never had a problem with my sister. I never had a problem with another brown-skinned dancer. I'm cheering for you.
Right.
But everybody don't think that way. They're like, oh, well, she's pretty and she could dance. Dang, she might take my spot. Or it's only enough room for one of us. And it's like, no, girls, room for all of us.
Yes.
And I feel like that when that shift happened, and I really do put it on Beyonce, where it bridged the gap of us being one and us, and everybody's like, oh, we all could do it. We all can be on this job. We all could be seen in this light. So, yeah, before that, it was like that one token black girl on every job. And that was so whack. And now it's not like that at all.
I do agree with you about Beyonce using her platform. And then, like you said, other people in positions of power have to do that as well. It's not just enough to support, but it's advocating for those who you know may not look like you. And Beyonce, the song "Brown Skin Girl"
made me cry the first time I heard it.
Yes,
literally, I was on the plane crying, like, wow, she didn't, but she sees it, and she's definitely using her platform, so it's appreciated.
Yes,
yes.
Ash, how has this affected you?
I think more so when I was in high school and middle school. I went to a private school, predominantly all white, and it was just hard to fit in and hard to find your place. You're not white enough for the white kids. You're not black enough for the black kids, and they don't really know how to place you or gauge you, and you don't know where you fit in. You're trying to find yourself. You're growing up. And so I haven't really experienced that feeling in adulthood. I have friends of all different shades and all different walks of life. And I feel like we're all kind of on the same page. We don't really put focus on that when it comes to friendships.
Right.
Or in the workplace. But in high school, definitely that it was hard to figure out who you were and where you belonged. And it was hard to be accepted by both sides.
So as you grew and mature, it was more of not looking at the external, but characteristics that drew you into friendships. And I think that's important too. What is your focus on? If that's your narrative that you think someone may not like you because of your external, then I think you're going to draw that into your life. But if you're thinking, you know, I have other talents, I have, you know, other characteristics that are great, you know, and I think I'm going to draw that into my life. So I know your story a little bit because this is my cousin. And, you know, we have the same upbringing where we were supported and where we were praised. So how do you think this affects you in your adult life?
I think because of the upbringing and because I have a different, it's just a positive perspective, I don't always see it for myself. For adulthood, it's mainly my daughter that I see it. So for me, when I was a child, I would hear the positive comments, and the positive comments kind of outweighed the negative, you know. So I do have a story where I was in class, and of course I remember everything about that. I remember the person who said it. I remember the teacher. The teacher was calling roll, and she asked where I was. And I said, I'm here. And one student said, where are we? Where are you? We can't see you. Smile so we can see you. Wow. That is something that I remember. And then as I grew up, I noticed I got a lot of positive attention. Just, I was getting praise for my complexion, my skin. And so as an adult, it doesn't affect me as much. But as I mentioned, my daughter does not live in a community with people who look like her.
Okay.
So she gets singled out.
What are you doing to kind of help her cope with that?
Yeah. So I remind her of who she is. Mm-hmm. I remind her that she is beautiful. We even have like the pictures of beautiful Black women, beautiful Black girls, like in the bathroom. This is who you are. This is who God made you to be. Beautiful. You can do anything.
Right. I think that's very, very important. That reminds me of a story that I had when I was younger. I was outside playing, and this boy was teasing me because of my complexion. So I went and told my mom, and my mom's a very dark-skinned woman. So she prepared me for this, and at the time, of course, I didn't know. But she was preparing me. She said, okay, I want you to go outside. She even told me to put my hand on my hip, and she said, you tell him you are proud of who you are. You say, I know I'm Black, and I'm proud of it. And I told him that, and he just looked at me like this. He had no words. He didn't know what to say. He was like, oh, she's fine with who she is. And he was I think we were about 4th grade at the time. But that's indicative of, the real world. When you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you, right? So, Carla, you're in the entertainment industry as well. How do you think it affects you?
As far as the entertainment industry, I'm not seeing an issue with that as of yet.
Okay.
There is more content that have worlds that Black people exist in. Mm-hmm. I haven't reached that issue. However, for me, colorism wasn't about school or work or TV. It was in my family.
It was in your home. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So, you have family members. Oh, like whenever my mom and my sisters, when we would pull up to my grandma's house, and so like here come the cousins and even adults. Oh, here comes a white family. Oh, the white family is here. A white girl. Okay, white girl, where you at? Right, and it was it was very much nasty. It wasn't like, oh, we think you're better. It's like, ew, who do you think you are? And the only way to silence them would be for you to agree with them. Wow. Because the more you would disagree, the harder they would go. And it's interesting because it was mostly adults. Mm-hmm. And like up until recent, I was able to basically shut it down. Because you know how you just take it and you're just like, okay, whatever, that's just how such and such is. Mm-hmm. And so now it's like, don't call me that. Who are you talking to?
Right.
And they will want you to affirm it. Like you'll come into a room full of family members and they're like, there go my girl. Tell them what I call you. What I call you. Tell them what you are. Wow. Right? In such a nasty way. I've actually have not experienced colorism outside of my family. Wow. It's been within the family. It hasn't been strangers. It hasn't been school. And if it has, if anything that may have happened at school, it wasn't as loud and nasty as it was with my own family members, right? In school, it would more so be like, you're not Black enough or you're not light enough because people try so hard to place you into a category. Mm-hmm. So you have one half that's like, girl, you're not light-skinned like that. Or, girl, you're not Black, you're not brown enough. Change your emoji. It's too dark. You're not that dark. Like, who you think you are? You think you Black? I'm like, what? So yeah, it's for me. Yeah, mostly family.
Your family. Yeah, I think our upbringing has a lot to do with it. But I have a friend. She's dark skinned, and she was told by her grandmother that you're Black and ugly. She forgave her grandmother for that because she said, my grandmother only told me what she was told. Mm-hmm. She only knew what to do because that was her experience. And my friend chose to have a different route. She's like, I have friends across the rainbow. I didn't want to perpetuate that into, my life. So I don't do that. I forgive her. I let it go. So I think it's important that although your surroundings have an effect on it, that we make up our own minds, that we come into the realizations of who we are, that we develop our self-esteem based on what's inside and based on, not the external, and then move from there. But making sure that the next generation teaches the next generation, that we, each one teach one, and that we have these hard conversations. Nobody wants to talk about it. People pretend that it doesn't exist, and maybe it doesn't exist for us, but maybe it exists for our children. So we have to talk about it, and we have to do something about it. So my other question is there anything that you see, or any changes that you've seen that occurred in the media lately regarding, like you mentioned Beyonce? Are there any other areas? I noticed that Bel Air, have you guys seen Hillary? She was cast as a dark-skinned woman. I think that was a huge statement for that casting director and for the creators of that show, to make. And I think she's killing it. I think she's doing a great job. I've seen, we can go back to like Black Panther. It was one of the highest grossing Marvel movies ever, and it's full of Black people, and not only Black people, but dark Black people. So I think if we change our mindset and just be accepting of those who are different from us, or those who don't look like us, but we have to make an asserted effort. We have to stay focused on creating change and making change. And how do we do that? By having conversations and talking to each other. It doesn't always have to be on this great scale. We could do it in our individual lives, at our jobs, within our families, at work. So does anybody have any solutions, like besides me having this conversation, of what you could do, or what you would do, or what you would have wanted to have been told to you, when you were growing up?
It would have been nice if it wasn't even an issue at all.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you're dealing with colorism or race or anything of that nature, you create a division.
Yes.
And I feel like the mistake that we often make is we overcompensate rather than just being all inclusive. So it's like, okay, well, we're gonna pick all dark skin for this to show, yes, we care, whereas in, no, let's pick everyone. You know what I mean? Because even that creates a division.
Yeah, you overcompensate, kind of.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself in certain conversations where you're afraid to say certain things. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings,
Right.
touch on anybody's
And
toes.
so what's happening is, because of the overcompensating with like, let's go with darker skin, what's happening is it's still creating a division within
You're absolutely
ourselves.
right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Because
right.
now, if I'm having a conversation with someone and I don't choose the darker girl, then I'm hating because she's dark, and I favor light over dark.
Right.
It's still that division. So I think that what a solution would be to have the mindset of including everyone. Right? And seeing past the skin and like who can get the job done, or what skin tone tells a story better, right?
Whenever or who was the most talented despite the
Exactly.
skin color.
Exactly. And the reason why I say it in that aspect, because I'm speaking as far as maybe TV and film, maybe having a darker skinned person in this role helps push the story, if it comes to that. But at the end of the day, who has the talent?
Yeah.
Who's better fit for that? So I believe that it would be more of about an inclusive thing versus let me overly praise this or overly praise that. Let's praise each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, and I think that starts with clearly having these conversations, but realizing that there are so many historical implications, of colorism. And I think sometimes we want to, I don't want to say we want to dismiss it, but it's so prevalent for us because it's like, it's a part of our DNA, So even if we want to think that it doesn't impact us in a certain way. It always does.
Yeah.
It always does.
It's in the subconscious.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. You know, and like you said, okay, the pendulum swings in this direction now. And so, okay, now we're affirming women of a darker hue and, you know, hair textures that are coilier maybe, or, you know, and so then where does that leave the other sisters, you know, who don't have, you know, those physical attributes, you know? So it's, and I was thinking about this when we were kind of, you know, talking about having this discussion, and I said, I remember taking this African American aesthetics class in college, and it was on the Yoruba tradition, and they were talking about Iwa. It was this term, a deity actually, and Iwa is a character or force infusing physical beauty with everlastingness. And I remember that resonating with me so much because I was like, this transcends this, you know? So that physical beauty means nothing. It's the legacy. So it's my character. It's those things that I'm passing on to the next generation that are infinite, you know, infinite traits of beauty, you know? So I think it's important for us to realize that we're operating with this issue on a cellular level, and then what do we need to do, going back to what you said in terms of like solutions. I think it has to be very intentional and deliberate.
Yes.
You know, I mean, how am I empowering other women? How am I supporting their business ventures, you know, seeing that they're women of merit? This has nothing to do with what someone looks like. This, like you said, the role. Is this person the best suited for this particular role or to operate in this particular capacity? Recognizing that strength and ability and, you know, using that to elevate them.
I think because a lot of times with dark skin women, men in general, it is a lot of times demonized, demoralized. Mm-hmm. And so because of that negativity, people wanted to overwhelm, you know, like say the positive, talk about the good things, you know. So I even remember a time when my cousins and I were taking photos and we're like, oh, it's the dark skinned girls. My sister is very light. And multiple times she felt left out. And we didn't realize we were doing that to her, you know, and we didn't want to hurt her.
Right.
But it happened. And so because of how we have felt, how we have been talked about, it's like, okay, let's overly praise dark skin. And I definitely find myself doing that to my daughters, overdoing it, because I know how the world may see them. I know how the world may see me.
Right.
And I choose to say, no, I'm beautiful. I choose to tell my daughters, you are beautiful. Regardless of what anybody says about you, regardless of what they think about you, this is who you are. And that's the thing we've been saying, is that it matters how you think about yourself.
Yeah, I don't think it's a put down on, for me personally. For instance, me and two of my girlfriends, we started Brown Sugar, and it's pretty much for me, I wanted to do this because I feel like there's not enough there's not, but it's not like the role. First of all, with social media right now, I'm like, I can't stand it because it's this one girl, everybody look alike, everybody has the same body. Mm-hmm. And I look at my nieces, my younger nieces, and they look depressed and they look like they have to fit this role or they have to have this body. And I'm like, no, ma'am. Like, you are beautiful. So, like, we started this for people, for young Black women to be comfortable in their skin, no matter what. Skinny, bigger, short, tall, like, and it's like, it's such a hard topic because, like you were saying, well, you guys are putting, now it's like, brown skin, but what about us? We can let's talk about slavery. Let's talk about how white people get up, or some people are like, oh, we all have y'all own month and da-da-da-da. But it's not about y'all. Like, it's about bringing this awareness to beauty everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like, it's tough because some people are like, oh, we're not being included. And it's like, y'all have y'all moment all the time. You have to think about it. Like, this moment is not about you right now. Mm-hmm. Like, but I get it. So it's kind of hard because it's like, I'm never trying to exclude anybody, but I want to celebrate me.
Right.
And I want to know that I'm proud of who I am.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do about anybody. Like, beauty is beauty.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, when I really noticed it, because you mentioned something about your aunt or my mom, when she told me her mom used to put bleach in her water to make her lighter.
Yes, I've heard that story as well.
I couldn't believe that. My grandmother told my mom, oh, you about to marry this black man, y'all gonna have the ugliest kids. Like, my mom and father have the most beautiful children. Like, and just that coming from my grandmother, I was like, I couldn't believe she said that. But they're from the South. That's their mentality. It definitely was the brown paper bag rule. Mm-hmm. So this is, I almost cursed. This is something that we've been dealing with forever, and it goes deeper down to slavery, to the white man choosing a lighter woman to have a baby with, or you could be the house nanny, or you can't, or you too dark, you got to be on the field, So it's so deep, and it sucks that this division is happening amongst each other. But it's like we just have to root each other on, celebrate each other. Right. You go, girl. We see you. Like, and we have to kind of take away, oh, they're excluding us because they're all brown skinned. No, we're just proud to be us because we haven't felt like this. We haven't felt celebrated. We haven't felt this way. So it's just it's so deep, and I don't know the solution. Mm-hmm. I just feel like we just have to be more just happy for each other. Yeah. Well, see each other.
You created a solution.
Like,
yeah, we have to keep celebrating each other, right? And advocating, like you said. And I think one of the most important things too is when another person is being celebrated, if you can just let their light shine for a second, let them have their light. It's not taken away from yours.
Exactly.
You're still beautiful. You're still, and it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. When the dark skinned girl is over here and no one's talking to her, and the light skins are being celebrated, celebrate them, because you'll have your moment too. If everybody is supporting everybody, if everybody is confident in themselves, then you know that you'll get your turn, right? We say that in our church confession, like we're gonna celebrate when something happens good for you, and then when it's my turn, you're gonna celebrate for me, and together we're gonna heal.
I also think just because you celebrate one person doesn't mean you're putting another down.
Right.
So it kind of piggybacks off of what you said. You can celebrate someone else without feeling like you're lesser or it's not your moment, because everyone deserves to be celebrated, and it's not your birthday every day.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. It's her birthday every day.
But and that's why I say it should be an inclusive thing. Like, we should all be supporting each other in spite of whatever that shade is. And like you said, like, the dark skinned girls haven't had their moments. Okay, so you've had your moment. Support, like, uplift, like bring everyone up so that it can be an even playing field of confidence and acceptance and feeling included and feeling being a part of. Because I feel like if we include each other, it'll make it very hard for others to separate us.
Yes.
Because history-wise, colorism comes from slavery.
Right.
Right? Assuming that every black person from Africa obviously came with a darker skin hue, right? And so then you have the white slave masters who would have sex with the slaves and create these other shades, right? When that happens, it's like, okay, well, now we can separate them, because if we keep you separated, we can divide and conquer.
And conquer.
Right? And so now, because of how our people were treated, they've taught us a lot of things culturally for the purpose of survival, but we don't need those survival skills now.
Right.
But it's still being taught, even subconsciously.
Right.
You don't even realize that it's being taught.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so now your racist white people have moved on, because guess what? All y'all black to them. They don't see light to the dark.
If they're coming for us, they're coming for all of us.
Exactly. They're not saying, oh, like a racist white person does not care if you're lighter or darker. You are you know what I mean? To them. So because of the history, like, we're the ones that's keeping it going. And if we can acknowledge that and see it for that, then we can, start working on it.
Right. And it's just like anything else. You want to make sure that you're taking care of your family before you go and tell someone else about their
Absolutely.
family.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are we doing as a community? And then I can look at us. We're not letting external dictate who our friends are. We can see right here. This is one of my closest friends. You guys are very close. We're not letting that happen. So we are starting the trend, but we have to teach our young people, like you said, these young people, they're growing up, they're looking at social media, they're thinking that they need to look a certain way. And if they're not, then they don't feel validated. But we've got to validate them. We've got to have these conversations, because there are families, Black families, where the mothers are telling their sons, don't bring her home if she's not this complexion, or don't bring her home if her hair isn't this texture. And it goes the other way around as well, for mothers who are telling their sons, different things. But we've got to start at home. We've got to start, within our own community. And self-love. That is the key. If everybody is loving themselves, why am I hating on you?
Right.
Yeah.
If I know that if I am given the same resources, same platforms, that I can do anything that I want to do, if we know that one race is not superior to another, we also know that one skin complexion is not superior or inferior to another, right? So even if you're not given the same platform, we are inventors, we are creators, we will find a way to get things done, So I just think, like I said, we gotta keep having these conversations. We've gotta be responsible for the next generation, and not just let it die and let them think that they are not good enough. They are good enough. They are more than enough. So yeah, thank you guys. Did anybody want to add anything else? This is just the beginning of this conversation that I'm going to have, by the way. I'm going to have some men come in here and we're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to have men and women, and we're going to have that verbal exchange as well. A lot of our men are choosing to link to different women and, outside of their race as well. And we just want to talk to them, see where it comes from. I have no issue with anyone.
Hear that. I said I would love to hear that, because I feel like that's where I noticed, like, the certain guy I was attracted to wasn't attracted to me, and I'm like, you my brother, right? And it would be others that were so attracted to me, and I just didn't understand it.
Yeah,
and it does come from the guys, because
I didn't understand
when they pick a shade, they go hard.
Oh yeah,
and it makes you feel like, dang, right? Because I mean, you do it when it comes to like how you present yourself. You do it for you, but you're dating. You want guys to be attracted to you. So I saw a video where this guy, I don't know if it was a joke or not, but he was intentionally dissing all of the dark skinned women.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, is this real? Like, is this isn't even funny?
It's real.
And it's so real. Sad. And these,
I think we have to pay. I mean, when I say pay no mind, obviously we hear it, we see it, we feel it. But I think that, and this is the problem with social media a lot, we magnify it and highlight it because everyone starts talking about it. And I really feel like we need to pay them no mind.
No mind, because it's not true for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, you may have that, but I could tell you guys my experiences. And I was talking to one of my friends, and she was like, black men don't like me. And I'm like, well, I'm married to a black man. I know people who are married to black men. So you can't generalize and say that my husband is light skinned and he chose a dark woman. So you can't say that all light skinned men want to, you have to find your way. And believe whatever you believe, that you're going to attract it. Yeah. So believe that you're beautiful, believe that you can get, I wanted to say this as well. Some black men have the opposite the opposite mindset where they want a black child. They want a dark-skinned child. I've had men come up to me, can you have my baby? What? I'm married. So I don't want us to put anybody in a box. I just want us to talk and just, have this conversation, and let's just try to get better, and let's support each other. And again, I don't have a problem with people having preferences, but the problem comes when you're degrading.
Absolutely.
That's when it comes.
Because you don't have to. You can prefer this without hating that.
Exactly.
But that's the internalized.
That feel inferior. Right. I can prefer this. This is my preference, and then another one prefers that, and that's
fine.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong at all.
I think you said it best, though, the divide and conquer. Like, they did their job before, and now black people are continuing to do it and have internalized it and feel that the dark skin is inferior. So they're like, and sometimes they know the experience that they had as a dark person, and they don't want their child to experience that. Yeah. So they choose a lighter shade.
So that's where it comes with self-love. Learn to love yourself.
Right.
When you learn to love yourself, you're going to want to duplicate yourself.
Right.
You wouldn't mind. You know what I mean? But if you are not confident, you're not feeling too sure, you might try something else. Maybe they'll have a better chance. But if you know that you can do whatever you want to, that you have the ability and the capability, then I think you're gonna, perpetuate that. Yeah. So,
because it's just a distraction.
Yeah, that's all.
It's a distraction to prevent you from getting to whatever your purpose is.
Exactly.
And so now you have this
really
thing,
important.
Yeah. So now you have this thing to blame why you didn't get what you wanted,
or why you don't feel that you're operating in the realm that you should.
Yeah. It's because I didn't book this because I wasn't dark enough. No, it wasn't for you.
Yes.
It wasn't yours.
It's not your time.
It's not yours. And when you know that you're gonna get what's for you, you're gonna get it as long as you don't allow those distractions.
Yeah.
And like I think it's dope that you have that and that you saw it in your own family with your nieces and your cousins or whatnot. Because I don't even think about that. And I have a big family. I'm like, oh, I never thought about how are they seeing this? How are they being affected by it? Yeah. Right? Because you're so busy fighting your own battle or ignoring the person who's calling you, whatever. It's like, dang, well, I wonder what, So until you said that, so now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to do a little check-in and make sure nobody feels a certain way.
Yes, definitely. But the positive that I take from this is that, we are going to give back to our generation, to the younger generations, and that we are going to keep searching for solutions and keep having these discussions until we get better, until we see change. And we are seeing change, and we are seeing people use their positions of power. We mentioned before Beyonce, to make sure that we're being more inclusive. And you can see that diversity is paramount right now, not only in the entertainment, but you can see it in the private and public sectors and companies that are making sure that we diversify, that everybody is being included, because everybody is valuable. Everybody has a purpose, and your purpose is not more important than mine. Mine is not more important than yours. It's different, but it's needed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.